If you're 18 years old and you have no money, no connections, no idea what you're doing, I had nothing to lose. I'm just going to outwork everybody. I'm not the most charismatic person. I'm not the smartest person. I go to Harvard Law, right? But I am going to outwork you. Like, I'll put in more hours. I'll read more books. I'll listen to more podcasts. I will do more meetings. I'll travel to more cities. Like, that I can do. Comfort will not bring you success, actually. It won't bring you excellence. Like, only in that place of uncomfort and discomfort do you actually get to the next level.
In 2012, when you were just 18 years old at the Republican National Convention, you approached billionaire Foster Fried.
Yes, I did.
And you asked him to help you out with your idea, Turning Point USA. What was the conclusion of that conversation, and what did that teach you about life and risk?
I was just recently graduated from high school. I wanted to go to West Point before that, didn't get in, and it ended up being one of the greatest things that never happened to me. And so I went to the Republican National Convention. I studied like all the major donors. I had to kind of like sneak my way into the RNC grounds, if you will. And at the fourth day, I was so demoralized. I was like, oh, this is not working. I have this idea for Turning Point USA, which basically the idea was to try to win over young people around conservative ideas. And I was in a stairwell, literally a stairwell. And then I saw Foster Fried doing like a podcast interview with this major cowboy hat on. And I gave him the stairwell pitch. You know, people talk about the elevator pitch. I gave him a stairwell pitch. And he told a couple jokes. He was the sweetest, most godly, incredible person ever. He actually took me seriously because here I was 18 years old, no money, no connections, no idea what I was doing, and no reason that he should be listening to me. And this guy, for the people that know, Foster Fried started from nothing in rural, I think it was like Rice Lake, Wisconsin, became like the top mutual fund manager for like 30 years. The Brandywine Fund out of Delaware, like legendary stuff, right? So he's someone that gets pitched all the time. His life is to listen to pitches. 10 times a day, top companies would come in and try to pitch Foster Fried. Can you have your couple $1 billion assets under management to buy Coca-Cola or to buy United Airlines? So he's constantly getting pitches. So here I am pitching a guy, a legend, about, you know, this organization that I wanted to start, Turning Point USA. And he took me so seriously. And he wrote me a $10,000 check. And that was like the seed funding. It wasn't shares. It wasn't like equity. It was just a donation because we were 501c3. And it might as well have been $100 million, right? It finally was enough for me to be able to start a website, to have gas in the car. And then from there, the journey just started. And he became a bigger and bigger donor.
What do you think he saw in you?
Well, he probably saw someone that was passionate enough and crazy enough. And honestly, he probably saw someone that was really like naive to a great extent, that I still wanted to get into this like broken political space, but I didn't know any better. And in Foster's own words, he said he saw someone with focus and determination and a Midwestern work ethic. So he was from Wisconsin and I was from Northern Illinois. So we kind of had that in common. And look, I live in Arizona now and I love Arizona, but I have like a huge Midwestern bias. I think Midwestern work ethic is like the best on the planet, and nothing against other people in the country, but there is something very special about how we're raised in the Midwest and kind of that idea that we're going to outwork everybody. And that's always been who I am. I'm going to do more events and more speaking and more podcasting, and more radio interviews and more donor meetings. And that's kind of been the ethos. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He passed away, unfortunately, a couple of years ago. You asked the question, what did it teach me about risk? Is that right?
Risk in life, yeah.
Well, honestly, I had nothing to really risk because I had nothing to lose. And so that's like...
That's a nerve-wracking thing. A lot of people are presented with opportunities to talk with someone, get their foot in the door for some opportunity.
Sure. So what are you losing though? Like your own, like...
Getting over the embarrassment of rejection.
I know, but like that's not losing anything, right? I mean, that's... In life, if you think about it, like, okay, if you're second mortgaging your house, like some entrepreneurs are, I don't have like one of those stories, right? I'm sure you guys talk to some of these people. I was on the second mortgage in my house and I couldn't feed my kids. That's actually not my story. That is something to lose. This is like the only thing you have to lose is your own sense of comfort. That's kind of weird when you think about it, right? I mean, I'm not going to ask that girl out. Why? Well, because I'm comfortable in my own corner. Comfort will not bring you success, actually. It won't bring you excellence. Like only in that place of uncomfort and discomfort do you actually get to the next level. So it is risk in the sense that we as human beings do desire comfort, and we want to kind of be in a place where we can have certainty above uncertainty. And going and asking a question, or going and asking a top billionaire for money, you have the probability of failure, and we are very failure averse as a species. And honestly, we should be. Like, you think about 5,000 years ago, you have, 2 kids and you're living in like Mesopotamia. And you're like, well, I hope there's food over that hill. And if you're wrong, your whole family could die. So like that's embedded into our species, right? God designed us in a way where there was not a lot of food all the place. So now you kind of extrapolate that kind of genetic wiring where we used to be in the wilderness to Foster freeze, and you think you're like, wow, Foster tells me no. My whole life's gonna actually no, you're gonna be fine. Like you could go and still eat food and you're not gonna die. And so I think we have to overcome our genetic hardwiring where so many people think that it's like a life or death situation. I can't ask this girl out. I can't go ask for a raise. I can't go to my boss. I can't assert myself. And you have to overcome that because it's actually not that much risk. Now, what is risk is like if there's a material or a reputational thing you're putting on the line. But if you're 18 years old and you have no money, no connections, no idea what you're doing, I had nothing to lose. And that's actually one of my main arguments for like why we have so few entrepreneurs nowadays. We have less and less entrepreneurship rates are going down, is we're sending all these kids to college and they're telling you to be risk averse. Like the whole incentive structure in college is to not pursue big, broad ideas, is actually to stay rather cloistered and play it safe.
Speaking of that, that's where I first found your content, was you on the college campuses debating. When did that start, and what was the most surprising aspect of that?
Yeah, so I've been doing that for 13 years. I haven't been doing that on camera for 13 years. And so, look, the Lord has been so amazing to us and has blessed us in amazing ways. And so I never would have imagined, like honestly, ever since like I met Foster Freeze, that we'd be somewhat of kind of like a household name. I don't want to overextend it, but I mean, there's some serious virality and some real punch behind what we're doing. So I started doing that without even filming it. And so like, that's what people are like, you have to, and that was before like mass social media 13 years ago. It was still there. Honestly, I should have filmed it. It would have went like the trajectory probably would have been even faster.
Back in
but
2012, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because that was like raw internet and like it would have been really interesting. But that's how you know I actually believe this stuff is I used to go and debate kids when there was no incentive structure for virality. I just did it because I loved it and I love the battle of ideas. And I did it to try to start like a turning point group on campus. And so I've been doing it for 13 years. We started filming it around 2017. We started perfecting the model really around 2021, and then 2023 is when all of a sudden it kind of became a somewhat a culture phenomenon. And then, of course, the last year seems like I can't get out of people's algorithm.
So you mentioned that you like the battle of ideas, but one thing that I tend to notice is that whoever has stronger rhetoric, persuasion skills, quick on their feet, quick on their toes, that's going to be the person to win the argument, the debate. Do you feel like these debates have turned into a battle of ideas, or just who has stronger rhetoric?
That's a good point. I actually have to think, I think about that a lot. So I try to do a couple things and I fail. But if you notice, in the viral videos, I try to put my microphone down, literally physically on the table when the person is asking their question, because I want to try to give them uninterrupted time to be able to make their argument. Number two, there is an advantage that the person coming up to the mic has, that they're allowed to ask any topic, and I don't know what that topic is going to be, and they could prepare profusely on it. But you're right. Of course, it's advantage to the guy that does it for a living, right? But understand, like, I have to go to a college campus and defend ideas that are in the minority of a lot of these kids' worldview. I have to go to a college campus and argue against abortion. Most kids are not against abortion, right?
Have you ever had your mind changed from one of these college campus
Oh, yeah. I mean,
debates?
so mine changed over a period of time, probably, yes. I would say that I definitely have grown respect for like the thoughtfulness of a lot of international students when it has come to the Russian-Ukraine war. Like definitely, like I'm very against U.S. involvement, but like talking to, and they're all public, you can watch them, like very thoughtful German students and like very thoughtful students from Eastern Europe. Like for them, it's a very existential crisis what's happening. And so like to hear that was something that was very, let's just say, different than what you would hear just on like the usual American political landscape. I learn a lot too, and that's what's important. Like, I do 100 hours of this a semester. I thought when I first started this, everyone wanted to be equally successful. Like everyone had equal drive. So I thought that was like an equally distributed ingredient amongst the population. And that was my naivete. I didn't realize that like motivation and like drive and grit and hustle was actually like an exceptional quality. And so then quickly I realized like, whoa, I'm just going to outwork everybody. Like I'm not the most charismatic person. I'm not the smartest person. I go to Harvard Law, right? But I am going to outwork you. Like I'll put in more hours. I'll read more books. I'll listen to more podcasts. I will do more meetings. I'll travel to more cities. Like that I can do.
Have you done an IQ test?
I did when I was young, yeah.
And what did it come back at?
It was well above average. I don't want to misspeak on the but I think it was like, I don't want to say a number because it's going to get cut up and all that, but it was
300.
No, it wasn't that high. No, it wasn't that high. No, but it was not like quite meant so, but it was high. Like, I mean, I have a good memory, but like, I'm not like an international chess champion, right? I'm not like a perfect SAT guy. I had good ACT scores, right? We took the ACT where I was from, 31, 32. Was it respectable? It wasn't like a 36. But so I'm not dumb. I mean, that's not, but I'm a unique combination now that I can see it, which is, I'm like a heat-seeking missile towards what I want to achieve. And that alone can be an incredible differentiator in this space.
So what are some of the sacrifices or compromises that you make because of that heat-seeking missile nature that people may not recognize?
My life's configured now in a way where the biggest sacrifice I have to make is not being home with my kids. And that sucks. I don't have to do that as much. I get to say no to a lot of stuff. And by the way, thank you guys for coming to Phoenix. It's one of the main reasons why this was like...
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, I'm going to do this more with more shows. I'm like, you want to interview me? Come to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because my kids are my most important thing in my world. My wife, my kids, my relationship with God, top 3 things, right? God, wife, kids, in that order. And so that's a sacrifice that I'm not willing to make. So I'm just saying no to a lot more stuff. And so, but in the early days, it's so interesting. Like, people think like, oh, you had a bunch of donors that wanted to give you money. Like, yeah, that's not the story, actually. The story was I was going to find a lot of donors and had to scrap and hustle and get like elementary funding, because we could barely make payroll for the first 5 to 6 years, right? We could barely pay the bills. This building that we're sitting in right now was not even open till our 6th year, okay? We barely had an office the first couple of years. And so, yeah, I mean, like, you want to be successful, you think it's easy? Okay, I'll show you my flight logs, 200 red-eye flights. You want to go do that? 200 red-eye flights where you have to go sit and perform and give a speech and be on and go all day and be interesting. 1,200 cable news interviews. Fox News at 3 o'clock in the morning. Fox News at 3:30 in the morning. Get up, get on a flight, conference calls, remember the donor's name, write a thank you note, show up, report for the donor. They have questions, they're critical, they're skeptical. Like, fine, okay, it sounds easy, right? And I'm not here to like brag on it, but like, there's a lot you have to sacrifice for all this. And it's really easy to look at Turning Point USA because people think they can like recreate it. Like, oh yeah, I can recreate. Like, it's fine. I mean, look, it's the Lord's blessing and providence of all this. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, there's a hustle behind the scenes. And not just me, it's our team too. Our team works their tail off. Because now what's so cool is like, my like maniacally driven purpose is now shedding off on people. And like, not everyone can sustain it. They're like, this is too much for me. I'm going to go work for an insurance company. I'm like, that's fine. Like, because the pace here is first class. That's why we get more done. That's why we have more chapters. We have more donors. That's why our budget is bigger. It's because we're just going to keep on growing. We're going to keep on expanding. Because we do not settle for mediocrity here. Excellence is the only thing that will settle.
What do you do now to save as much time as possible?
So I'm a huge scheduler, big time. And so I schedule out days in advance. And I will block out, like, this is when I'm going to have conference call time. This is when I'm going to have, this is when I'm going to train. This is where I'm going to eat lunch. Like, I go down to like the 15-minute interval. And, this is the time that I'm going to go try and, go see this friend. This is the time where I'm going to go just turn my phone off and go for a walk. So I'm very, very precise with time. And then the biggest hack, and you guys know this, nothing new. It's called layering. You know this. So anything you're doing, try to fit 2 or 3 things on top of it. So if I'm traveling to go speak, listen to an audiobook, right? I mean, obviously, so then all of a sudden I'm getting 2 things done at once. If I'm training or working out, okay, I'm also going to be trying to listen to a podcast that I need in preparation.
I take all my calls on the treadmill.
100%. It's amazing, right? Or like, so I try to, I'm a big walker. I think there's a couple health hacks out here that are right in front of us that nobody ever wants to talk about, right? I'm a huge believer in sleep, like massive believer. I think it's totally undervalued. I'm a major believer in walking. I think we don't talk about walking enough, just walking. Not running, not deadlifting, not cold plunging, just walking. Okay. I'm a big believer in fasting. I think fasting's like untapped power. And then I just think like not eating terribly is, not those 4 things, you're actually going to be pretty relatively healthy.
Yeah. There are studies, I think, that show if you have forward movement, like if you're walking, your brain actually functions at a higher capacity than if you're sitting sedentary.
My best ideas are when I'm walking. My best ideas are when I'm moving. And I go for walks with my kids. So that's another layering, right? So, I mean, you want to talk about like a triple layering. When my daughter was 6 months old, she can't yet communicate, but she'd want to go for a walk and she'd fall asleep. So I'd listen to a podcast while getting a walk, while spending time with my kid. Like that's the trifecta, right? And so I'm really big on that. And so as far as time, you just also have to be able to say no. There's so much wasted time. And look, I'm also in a very blessed position. I'm incredibly blessed. Most people don't have this, but a lot of entrepreneurs do. I don't have to sit around at a desk and do just like wait for stuff to come to me. I constantly can set the terms of my own schedule. Now, it comes at great cost and great consequence, right? Because with, great freedom comes phenomenal responsibility and enormous responsibility.
In terms of your own material success, where is the money coming from in terms of like percentages? Because I know you have like a store, you have a for-profit merchandise company, you have your nonprofit, you have, your YouTube channel, all of these things. Where's the money coming from?
Very small percentage is my salary at Turning Point USA. So Turning Point USA is Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, $130 million budget. My salary there is about $300,000 a year, and I donate $350,000 back to Turning Point USA. So it's basically a wash, right? So it literally is a wash. And you might say, well, why do you donate it back? Well, my wife and I we try to be charitable. We try to give 10% of our income a year. What better place than to give it back to Turning Point USA,
Why
right?
Why even take a salary?
Honestly, that's a really good question. Number one, it's very important from just an IRS standpoint. If the CEO is unpaid, it just kind of looks very weird on the form. But also, I do believe in like different buckets for different things. I still think I should earn a salary for my work here. And then if I want to give it back, then so be it. It's a psychological thing more than anything else. Like it comes in, and then if I want to give it back, I can give it back. The revenue streams is the show. Incredibly blessed. We stream on Rumble every day, on X every day. We're on 250 radio stations. On over 400 affiliates. We are on Real America's Voice every single day, which is a great fast channel, which is also on Pluto and Roku. It easily estimates 2 to 3 million people a day tune into some part of the Charlie Kirk show. We cut it up, we socialize it.
Has life gotten a lot better since becoming wealthy?
Yes, I mean, look, my life has gotten a lot better since I got married and I had kids. I will tell you, the best thing about being wealthy is not being poor and not having to worry about money. The best thing is this, I have purpose in what I'm doing and the money is a nice reward. Like money is not the number one driver for me. It's not, like, I mean that. Like I have the skill set where if I quit all of this right now, I could probably go start a company right now. And after 10 years, I could probably sell it for like a couple $100 million. That's not like a crazy thing for me to say. The fact that we've started Turning Point USA in action, we have $130 million a year in revenue, right? I have the Charlie Kirk show. If it was all about getting rich, I could go start some app and probably go be successful. What makes me so happy is I get to impact people's lives. I get to speak truth. I have purpose. I get to help save the civilization. And then I also get to make some money while doing it. And that, quite honestly, is the most enormous blessing. I have the greatest job in the world. I'm the happiest person in the world. I mean that.
Now, in terms of disclosures like this and being so open about your finances, AOC recently disclosed that she has no individual stock holdings. Tim Walz famously said he doesn't have any investments. Do you think this is just financial irresponsibility, or do you think it's a good thing that they don't have a financial interest in maybe some of the measures that they're putting forward?
Tim Walz, it's very interesting. It's like, so on one hand, you're like, wow, he can't be bought. On the other hand, it's like, wow, you're like really bad with money. like you're kind of old and like you don't have any stocks. You're of that age. You haven't played into compound interest. You haven't like really tried to, I mean, by the way, you could have blinded trusts and, different ways of building wealth. I don't think you should go as far as Nancy Pelosi and basically like trade stocks after committee hearings. I think that's probably a little ambitious, right? People that own nothing. It might be like really appealing on the surface, but then I wonder, do they know how wealth is created?
It's indicative of something deeper that could be an issue. I think so. Yeah. Again,
there's plenty of good Republicans, I'm sure, that own nothing and they run for office, and that's great. But generally, I do want someone that knows here's the key. Poverty is human norm. Go to any country around the world, most people are in poverty. Wealth is the exception. How do you get wealthy is the most important, economic issue in front of us. It's actually a really hard issue to solve. We know how to solve it. Markets is how you get wealthy. That's it, okay? Private property, trade, rule of law, can't steal people's stuff. We're going to enforce those laws. It works. Decent, virtuous society. Okay, so we know how to be poor, not hard. I actually want people in office that know how to create wealth. I think that's a really important question.
What are your thoughts on Bitcoin?
I'm a big fan of Bitcoin.
Should the U.S. do a Bitcoin reserve?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, the United States should have a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
And who should pay for the Bitcoin reserve?
That's a good question. Hopefully, some of the tariff money could potentially do that. The reason why I think we should have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, I know you guys had Michael Saylor on your show, and I think he's onto something. There is something called like the mass adoption theory, which is over a period of time, like the English language, US dollar, things just catch on and they're just kind of volitional and there's no stopping it. I think Bitcoin is that. You got to watch out though. Quantum computing could potentially crack cryptography.
But if they do that, then they're also cracking bank accounts.
Right.
And stock trading accounts.
So quantum is the only asterisk on all this. But I think Saylor is onto something very profound, which is that because Bitcoin is a scarce, legitimately scarce resource, that it's probably going to go nowhere but up. So Saylor makes a very provocative argument that Bitcoin could go up 10x over the next 10 years or something like that, which therefore if we start a Bitcoin strategic reserve, it could like pay for the national debt and like basically cover our losses on the deficit. But I think that I think the United States government should be invested in crypto without a doubt.
What would you say is the biggest non-issue that people make out to be a massive issue? You already spoke about the issue that you think is extremely important that people don't really talk about, which is the birth rates. What about the
by the way, the birth rate's so big. I mean, the fact that no one wants to talk about it.
It's just not really discussed.
Yeah, so, okay, great. So I would say, it's not a surprise what I would say, racism. It's like the most ridiculous. I mean, we are the least racist country ever to exist in the history of the world. I don't like racist. You don't like racist. I don't like running into them. I have no tolerance for it. I would put it as like issue number 22,800 on issues of like what's pressing facing America. How about the fact that our public schools can't educate our kids and we can't find a single kid that can read at grade level in Maryland or Chicago? Probably a bigger deal than racism.
I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest issue with modern dating? As a single guy, I would love some advice. You know, Graham, he got married a year or so
Congratulations.
ago. So he's looking to start a family.
Have as many kids as you can afford. No, have
Probably
more than,
two.
Have more
Probably
than you
two.
can afford. That's what I should say.
I'll stick with two.
What is wrong with modern dating?
Yeah.
The biggest problem with modern dating is very interesting. We had a women's summit. The young ladies all raised their hands. They're like, how many of you are unhappy with the dating pool? Every woman raises their hand. I'm like, funny. All the young men I talked to are unhappy with you too. So who's wrong?
Those seem like kind of select groups of people though. You know, like if you're asking women that are attending a women's summit, they might be in a very specific situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say generally I hear more complaints about the dating pool. The problem with women is that many of them, have unrealistic expectations of the man that they want, a lot of them. I want a guy that's earning $1 million a year and he's 6'4", and I want him to have a perfect jaw. How about, by the way, where on your list is like, I want someone who will be a good father or someone with good character. Like that's like really disgusting actually, that you just want someone that's like super rich and looks good. Like, why don't you want someone that's going to be loyal to you, not cheat on you? Oh yeah, I want that too. Oh, okay, got it. So basically you want like Ken Barbie doll, and then you'll have like all the good virtues. Notice they don't lead with the virtue. And a lot of things lead to that. But number two is women need to be very clear that we need to tell women more clearly that if you do not have children before the age of 30, there's only a 50% chance that you will have children.
That's a fact?
It's a fact. You can fact check me on that.
Yeah. Isn't that, though, that women are becoming very intentional about whether or not they want to have kids, and just it's more socially acceptable,
yes, but they're miserable because of it, though. I mean, it's not just mine. You go fact check me, put the numbers up. The most depressed people in America are women without children. They're the most likely to be on antidepressants. They're the most likely to be anxious. Again, people that experience severe depression are people that say they are very unhappy are people, young single women in their early 30s without children. Who are the happiest women in America? Married women with children. I think and by the way, of course they have the agency to do that. I'm not trying to like make a law like you must get married and have kids. But I think that we've gone wrong here, that women should prioritize family and children way above career, that they should try to find their husband before they're 25, that they should try to get married way younger. This is probably the fertility
But then that
problem.
also goes back to just finances.
No, that's
you can't
huge
quite
totally
have a husband going out making a salary to have a stay-at-home.
I completely agree with that. That's the best argument. It's not a winner argument, but it's the best argument. Because at some point, you go to like sub-Saharan Africa, they have like 8 kids and they live in like a dirt hut. You can figure it out. Having children, I believe, is a blessing from the Lord. It's the most amazing thing. You should try to have as many children as you can. Much more important than traveling to Thailand or having a big apartment or a bunch of cats, okay? Having children are a gift from the Lord. So, but as far as like the dating pool problem, so young ladies, they need to be very clear about what they're expecting in a man and date with the intent to marry, and not just date to, have a good time. And quite honestly, both need to do this, but young women need to do a much better job of saving themselves for marriage. They need to be, they need to prioritize purity again. Young men need to too, but if young women do it, then young men will.
So if that's what the women need to do in order to make themselves worthy of dating,
Yes.
what do you think is the main thing men need to do to make themselves worthy?
The most attractive quality in a young man that young women can't ever articulate is self-control.
So how does this look in application?
A woman needs to be able to know that you can control your impulses when things get really crazy. They can't articulate it, but that's what they want. So for example, they want to be able, when you go on a date, can you control your mouth? Can you control your tongue? Can you control your eye? Are you going to cheat on her? Are you going to have a wandering eye? Are you going to get drunk every night? Are you going to kind of go into like a drug, abyss? Women can't always put that into words, but that differentiates a boy from a man. A boy is someone that has no self-control.
I would argue it's confidence and ambition. And if you have those qualities, I think everything else falls into place, because you have to have self-control if you're going to be ambitious.
Sure.
To have a North Star that
I
you
totally
follow.
agree. Confidence is true. Look, again, it's just, if you look at it though, you can be very confident, ambitious, but you could also then cheat on your wife like 10 years later, right? So you have to be able to control your flesh. We as men have very different problems than women, right? Different temptations. As men, we have problems controlling our flesh. That's why adultery is literally in the 10 Commandments. You had to command an entire people not to cheat on their wives. It was easy. God would not have to command us not to do it. And so when men are dating, if you want to make yourself more attractive to a woman, first of all, like demonstrate self-control. And also women want to be taken care of. I know this is like super provocative, but like deep down, they want a man to be able to provide for them financially.
Should a man pay on the first date?
100%. Like, what kind of a wuss beta male is splitting the check? But like, who are you?
I split the check quite a lot.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. You guys are great. That's incomprehensible to me.
To me, I thought it was a great financial decision.
So from your prism, I totally get that. And like, you have really good financial discipline. I'm sorry, like, I would be so humiliated. The greatest beta male, like, humiliation.
To save money?
To like the idea that a woman that you're trying to court.
First date, you don't even know if
it
she's
doesn't
like
matter.
The qualities.
It does not matter. I'm sorry. By the way, that money you save is not worth the honor that you compromise. It's a massive deal. I'm not trying to give it a hard time.
No,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing. No, in fairness, for your point with Macy, I paid for the whole first date.
Well, hold on. Why'd you do that one, though?
I think I was, at that point, I was at a level where, like, that felt like the right choice to make. But throughout my early 20s...
Was it because you felt more serious with her, or...?
I was also in a point where I was ready to be able to, like...
Financially?
Yes.
Legit. I get that.
Early 20s, like...
I still think you
saving $5 here and there, I would do it. I would go to...
So you're manic with saving money.
I am.
We have Blake on my team is like you. He goes and he'll eat... like the snacks for lunch to save money. Frugality is a virtue.
Yeah.
So we as Christians believe that there is an order of virtues, and above frugality is honor. And so we as men must lead. We must provide. Under no circumstance ever should a man ever let a woman pay for a date, or you should split ever. No circumstance.
Even on the third, fourth, fifth.
What if it's the first date and you're just not
paying for anything?
Okay, well, let me...
Period.
Well, let me... Okay, so
what kind of world are we living in?
Well, hold on a second. I agree with you. If I'm dating a girl, I would pay for everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. However, I could see for other people that might be in a different financial position, you pay for 10 dates and then she's like, you know what, I want to treat you.
Well, that's totally different. Someone is like, oh, we're going to alternate. Like, well, once you're serious and she wants to take you out to something for a nice dinner, and you might, by the way, if you have the intent to marry, you're already like kind of blending finances. Like, I get that psychologically, but like if you're like, oh, we'll take turns. Like, oh, you pay this time, I pay this time.
What's your advice to a girl who the guy she's currently seeing, he says that?
Oh, do not marry that man.
But here's the thing. I feel like they should always
break offer.
Great.
But they should offer. They should pull out the credit card.
The woman? Of course not.
Just to offer.
No.
It's a nice gesture.
No. By the way, no. This is feminism. Feminism is that you have to be this like self-independent. This is not a nice gesture. It's you trying to be like egalitarian. No, you as women should want to be provided for. In fact, you should have an expectation that you as a woman are so important and so critical and so necessary and beautiful. I want a woman that wants to be led by a man. The man is the leader of the household. The man is the leader of all the financial decisions. The man should be the primary provider.
I think
women are not
bringing
money to the table. That they're bringing something else. I think the woman going into that should have an expectation that the man takes care of her.
But should she be grateful if the guy takes
100%.
Oh, okay. Because
it should be immense gratitude. No. The woman should be. You know what she should say? She's like, "Thank you so much for doing that and not having to put this unnecessary pressure on me because you've just freed me." You know how many women are secretly miserable that they have to be as financially successful as men? A lot. Like a lot. It drives them insane. Deep down, a lot of women want to be mothers. They want to be wives.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, not every woman, by the way. If you want to go be a boss babe, go do that. Like, it's a free society. There's a lot of great people to do that. But generally, we have overcorrected. Okay, we have a lot of women that deep down want to go be moms, and they would love to have their man come in and just grab the check, and be like, "No, I got it." And by the way, you know what they see that as a signal? It's going to be okay. When the bullets start firing and there's chaos and things start falling apart, this man is going to protect the family. Boom.
Wallet on the table.
Wallet on the table. No, even better. No.
Paying 26% interest on that.
It's got to be even more alpha. You go to the waiter before the meal and you just give him the credit card. It's not even a conversation. It's paid for. It's done. Like, you don't even allow it to be a thing that is introduced there.
I would agree with that.
See?
I agree with that
full
too.
Alpha is like, you go straight up where you are like, smooth move, and the girl is so stunned and she'll be like, "Oh, don't we have to pay?" Like, "No, I got it. It's done." Boom. Are you kidding? From a woman's perspective, they'll be like, "That's the most attractive thing ever."
Could we do a couple rapid fire questions
sure,
real quick?
Ahead.
Okay. What's your biggest insecurity?
Forgetting something I should know.
Will you run for president?
No, I'm not running for president.
What's more dangerous, ignorance or apathy in voters?
Oh, apathy for sure.
Should there be a maximum age to be president?
No.
What is a worse policy idea, universal basic income or open borders?
Open borders.
One government agency you'd shut down right away.
Well, that's a great one. Department of Education.
Would you rather have dinner with AOC or Bernie?
AOC.
Is it a sin to fly Spirit Airlines?
A sin? No. But whoever started Spirit Airlines is in great defiance to God.
What's worse for society, weed or... Do you think you could win in a fist fight against Gavin Newsom?
Probably not. If I'm being honest, I don't think so.
Debate or a podcast?
I like this. I like podcast. It's way better. It's more human. Yeah.
Censorship or chaos? What's more destructive?
Censorship, without a doubt. Absolutely.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I die?
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.